Bringing you the news from around the globe, and here in Sri Lanka, this is Lunch Primetime News with me, Joel Outskun. We start off with a look at the headline-making stories this afternoon.
Gazette notice on the 20th Amendment published. Letters pile up at the Central Mail Exchange. Distribution of letters hampered. MP Tissa Attanayaka before the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Political list to be cast aside for Grade 1 student admissions.
On your top story this afternoon, the 20th Amendment to the Constitution was gazetted last night. The government press said it will be published as a supplementary gazette.
The government press confirmed the printing of the English copy that was concluded last night, while the printing of the Sinhala and Tamil copies commenced this morning. The cabinet recently approved the new electoral system comprising of 237 parliamentary seats. Under the new electoral system, the preferential voting system will be completely abolished. Under the new system, the parliamentarians will be elected under the first-past-the-post system and the proportional representation system.
Parliamentarians Sajin Divas Gunabodhana and former Puttalam District Coordinating Secretary for the Jatika Savya program attached to the Presidential Secretariat were further remanded until the 24th of this month. They were further remanded after they were produced before Fourth Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage today. The suspects were placed in remand custody for misusing 22 vehicles belonging to the Presidential Secretariat. Producing the suspects in court today, the Criminal Investigations Department said that one of the vehicles used by the MP under false license plate was discovered in a garage in Narampita. The CID added that details of another 5 vehicles of the Presidential Secretariat are unknown and investigations are continuing. On to one of our headline-making stories this afternoon. Parliamentarian Tissa Attanayaka arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today. The MP has been investigated over extending his support to Mahinda Rajapaksa on the run-up to the recent presidential election and obtaining the portfolio of Minister of Health. Our correspondent stated that the MP is being questioned as present. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says that no politician will get the opportunity to submit name list of students for admission for Grade 1 according to their wishes from next year.
Akhila Viraj Karyavasam, the Minister of Education, has said that various politicians at the national and provincial level had admitted their children and the children of their associates in breach of the proper procedures of the past. He added that as a result, many who did not meet the required qualifications have been admitted to schools. The minister also added that it is his policy to ensure that all children are admitted to a school for Grade 1. A circular including the application to enroll students for Grade 1 at government schools for the next year has already been released. The ministry added that the respective applications need to be sent to the heads of schools by registered post before the 10th of July.
4 suspects that attempted to exhume a body of a young girl in the Gambiriswaba Pallugollava area in Anuradhapura have been taken into custody. The suspects had attempted to exhume the body of a 20-year-old youth who committed suicide on the 11th owing to a family dispute. According to the police, the arrested individuals are between the ages of 18, 20, 22 and 28. The suspects had attempted to exhume the body after attempting to break open the concrete layer placed over the grave. Investigations point out that a pair of earrings have been removed from the body. The suspects are due to be produced before the Anuradhapura Magistrates Court. And in news from the President's Diary this afternoon, President Maithripala Sirisena visited the General Sir John Kothawala Defence University last evening. President Sirisena was welcomed to the General Sir John Kothawala Defence University by Minister Partili Champika Ranawaka and State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena. The unveiling of the pinnacle of the newly constructed stupa at the General Sir John Kothawala Defence University was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. The first puja at the newly constructed stupa was carried out by the President amidst the chanting of Pirit by the Mahasangha. The National Association of Tea Smallholders Union called on a media briefing in Mathura.
දැන් මේ වෙනකොට මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහතාගේ යහපාලන ආණ්ඩුව යටතේ
Even today, the small tea holders are faced by the same problems as before under the regime of President Maithripala Sirisena. We request for a fair price of tea leaves, fertilizer with a standard quality, replacement of 6% to 5% of replantation cost, and the use of the 13 rupee cess tax for the benefit of the tea industry. We also want the government to put a stop to the dust tea industry, which has been carried out under the sponsorship of high-profile politicians. These have been our requests from governments for many years. In a market where tea is sold for millions of dollars, the small tea manufacturer of this country gets just 500 rupees for a kilogram of tea. This amount can be easily increased. Therefore, we are ready to continue our struggle. Minister Gayantha Karunathilaga says that the government is taking measures to provide immediate solutions to the issues faced by the tea smallholders. The minister made this statement at an event in Gaul.
An event was organized to present relief to the tea smallholders in Hiniduma, Gaul. The government will pay the arrears and is intervening in a manner that the tea smallholders will be able to obtain a minimum price of 73 or 75 rupees and even 80 rupees. There are certain shortcomings. We are working with the old officials. The next issue is substandard fertilizer. Despite this fertilizer being provided, the tea smallholders need fertilizer with the proper standards. Something is given to the tea smallholders where even they have doubts as to whether it's fertilizer or not. This has not only affected the tea industry. As a government, we will have to act on this.
Another phase of the Samata Sana program took place under the auspices of Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajit Premadasa in Beliata.
Construction work on the bridge between Pallatra and Patyavatta in Beliata also commenced at this event. The so-called Balakaya did not work for the people with honest intentions. At present, they cannot stand the relief that is being provided to the public as shown through the media. They look at it with jealousy and anger. Today, the so-called Balakaya, which ruined this country, has taken to the streets and are protesting against the program to provide relief to the people. I see this as a disgraceful act. However, the nation knows that the steps taken forward by the Premadasas will never be taken back. When we take a step forward, we do not take it for our own progress, but we take it for the efforts taken to make the people live in this country.
Still in local news this afternoon, a shop owner was arrested in Kandy for selling intoxicated soft drinks to school students.
The raid was carried out by the Consumer Affairs Authority in Kandy and the Kadugannava police. The police have taken 60 such intoxicated bottles containing carbonated drinks. Police said that the suspect is to be produced before the Kandy magistrate on the 2nd of July. We are hoping to proceed with further legal action after obtaining the report from the Government Analyst Department. We have received complaints that some of the bottles are stored in Wattegama, Madavala. We are continuing to carry out raids. Information with regard to substandard goods could be lodged via our emergency hotline number or with the nearest police station. Information could also be given to the CAA attached to the Kandy Divisional Secretariat or via hotline number 1977. Meanwhile, 9 shops that had intoxicated carbonated drinks in its possession in Vattala and Nigambo were raised by the Consumer Affairs Authority on the 15th of this month. 1,200 such bottles containing intoxicated carbonated drinks were discovered.
In keeping you up to date in some weather news, the Department of Meteorology notes that there will be cloudy skies with showers at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, northwestern and central provinces and in the Galle and Matharu districts. We at Newsfirst contacted the Department of Meteorology for the latest weather forecast.
There will be cloudy skies with showers at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, northwestern and central provinces and in the Galle and Matharu district. Thunder showers can be developed at a few places in the eastern and Nuwa provinces during the afternoon or evening. Strong southwesterly winds can be expected over the country and surrounding sea areas at times and especially during the showers. I am Nimal Bandara Ekanayaka, due to meteorology.
On to one of our headline-making stories this afternoon. The distribution of mail has been hampered owing to stocks of registered post piling up at the central mail exchange point. Thereby, the general public has been severely inconvenienced owing to a number of essential mails such as examination details, interview details and other important events sent out by institutions not being delivered on time. We at Newsfirst inquired from Postmaster General Rohana Abhiratna in this regard.
It is true that there's a delay in the post and post plying up in the central post exchange. Two main aspects are affecting this situation. One reason being that a number of registered posts are generated during this time frame, and the other reason being that we lack the staff for the needed services. However, we have put in place a number of mechanisms to rectify this situation. One mechanism in place is that we try our best to transfer mails directly to the respective postal offices instead of needing to go through the central post office. Further, we will be making room for officers to engage in employment on Sunday.
Starting off sports news with some cricket here at home. Bad weather has delayed the start of the first test between Sri Lanka and Pakistan in Galle today. Umpires are expected to inspect the pitch at 2 this afternoon to determine as to whether the match will be played. Covers were still on at the Galle International Stadium at 9:30 a.m., the time scheduled for the toss, as heavy rain lashed the southern coastal town. Sri Lanka and Pakistan are due to play 3 tests, followed by 5 one-day internationals and 2 T20 matches.